Cole Palmer calls out his Chelsea teammates. Today, my friends, I'm here to discuss all things post-match news after today's disappointing 2-2 draw against Burnley. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Do not forget to watch the big match review breakdown on today's draw, and obviously share your thoughts and opinions and hit the like button as well too. So let's not waste no more time and let's get straight into things. Cole Palmer was not holding back in his post-match interview. He was annoyed, he was angry, and he has every single right to be, because his 2 goals gave us a chance to get a result today, and he was denied an assist later on as well too. And without Cole Palmer's individual genius and match effectiveness at moments, where exactly would we be this season? Whom the squad replaces his impact in games? That is the worrying thing. So let's see what Palmer had to say post-match. And as he says, it's poor. It can't happen, especially when they go down to 10 men. The changing room is really down. When we went down to 10 men, we were 1-0 up and we just got too comfortable. Same story. We kill ourselves every week. It's got to improve from us as players. We've had many chances, and then that time we defended soppy. It's very disappointing. On a personal level, it's good to score 2, but if you don't get the 3 points, they count for nothing. I think it's our consistency all around the pitch, being alive and not switching off like we did today. We seriously have to do some consistency if we want to do something, and I think it's absolutely spot on. And I like the fact that he's not getting even too gassed or excited by his goal contributions today, because let's not forget, this guy came from the best team in the Premier League, one of the best teams in Europe consistently for how many years at Manchester City. The level, the demands, the expectations are on a different level to anything we can produce and output at this point in time. Palmer learned a lot under Pep Guardiola. If you want to make it at Man City, to play alongside these elite, world-class players, you have to be a special talent yourselves. You have to work hard, you have to be ready, and you can't be resting on your laurels. So I like the fact that he's not getting too gassed by his performance today, and it just kind of just tells me more about his mentality. He's a winner, and without this guy winning games for us or winning contributions for us this season, I keep saying it, who else is replacing him in the team? That is the worrying thing. I feel like we can't understate his education at Man City, because the entry to barrier of first team football at Man City compared to our club, you know, that's a higher level. So that means you have to be ready. You have to be a more accomplished, better player. And I think it's no surprise to me that since he signed for us, he's taken everything naturally and organically in his strides. He's not being phased whatsoever, because he's been trained to get ready for the big stage since his academy days at Man City. So coming to us, which is, let's put our hands up now. We are a step below the big clubs in Europe. We are a step below the big clubs domestically. You're going to come here and things are going to be very smooth sailing for you. So I'm just hoping that Cole Palmer can continue to try and galvanize the team with his impacts on the fields. If there's one thing I would say though, even though his contributions were great, I feel like defensively, he also played a part and not really being that good in terms of intensity and energy off the ball. Today, that was the biggest culprit for our lack of a result, and that has to be improved upon. So I feel like this is a perfect time now to end things by discussing the final big points as we learn what Mauricios Pochettino had to say after this draw today. Now I'm going to read a few comments from Pochettino as he says, you know, we played well, yes. We created chances, yes. I think we are one of the teams that creates the most chances in the Premier League, but there are 2 phases in the game, with the ball and without the ball, and without the ball today, we didn't have the hunger, the energy and the capacity to be strong and defend when it's necessary. He goes on to also say, I'm very disappointed in the way that in the second half we manage or deal with the situation. We are a team that, when we play in possession and play forwards, we are able to create too many chances, maybe not to score all the chances we created. We need to improve our percentage in the game. After today, we didn't show the capacity, the energy, the anger, not the minimum to compete in the Premier League. In the defensive phase, we conceded too much. That is why I am so upset and disappointed. It's more here, compared to in your heads, than in your legs to be strong like a group, to be strong like a team. That is sometimes a circumstance for different reasons. We are so slow evolving in this area. And for the final key points he was making in his press conference, he says, when asked about what are the missing qualities in our team, Poch says, are you listening to me? No. We miss energy. We miss the capacity to deal with the situation. We miss communication in between us. We remember after the defeat to Wolves, the team was celebrating every tackle and things like this that increases our level. But today, we were not feeling the same. Maybe for a different reason, of course. We have clear ideas on where we need to improve. That is facts. That is the reality. We cannot analyze the game in a different way. We cannot analyze different things. That is the key. We need to improve if we want to be better. And, that's what I'm going to say. Otherwise, I'll be talking about his comments all day. But it's so on point. Energy off the ball. Defensive capacity. We are lacking that. We see it all the time. It's not the first time. It's not the first time us fans have commented on the same thing. I mean, there was moments in this game, especially like in that first half when Burnley were just going toe-to-toe against us. It was a bit humbling, to be honest with you. And I'm looking at certain occasions where there was this moment where Caicedo looked to try and apply pressure on the ball. He left his position in the midfield lines. And it's like Burnley were waiting for someone to trigger that press then, because then they played through us in like 2-3 passes. They took advantage of the space left and behind by Caicedo. And when you look at the rest of the teammates, they're watching the ball. They're applying no pressure. They're not getting in their faces. They're doing nothing. And recently, with all the goals we are conceding left, right and centre, more than 2 goals in every single game right now, it comes from this lack of application, the lack to compete, the lack to be aggressive. And I think to myself, is this just the energy? Is this just like the natural instincts of this young team where we didn't sign physical monsters? We didn't sign them type of guys. And I'm going to give credit to Pochettino. From the start of this season, he asked for physicality. He's asked for stronger players. And I feel like, when I get frustrated after a game, it's very easy, like just human nature as a fan, to just go and pinpoint the blame on the manager. But then I think to myself too, it's like, okay, imagine you're like, a world-class teacher, you've come from like Oxford or something, and let's say you've got to teach like inner city school that's like one of the worst in the area with really bad grades and stuff like that. There's only so much you can do to push your students on, right? With all the expertise you have, the knowledge you have, it's a two-way street, right? It's a two-way street. And I think, are these players really showing enough when it comes to understanding that capacity is needed that Pochettino was asking for? Because Pochettino was frustrated, he was angry, but he was still defending the team. He didn't want to pinpoint blame. He didn't want to, take any responsibilities away from himself and direct them to the team. And I feel like this is where I can respect Pochettino and, I can sympathize. And even though I have been frustrated by decision making and how the team aren't really perfecting any area of football under him, I still stand by those things. I'm not going to do this thing where any issue that comes from the club, I'm just going to pinpoint the blame on Pochettino. I think that's too easy because these players got to take some responsibility. And I feel like the directors who bought the squad got to take some responsibility too. Because, in my review, I spoke about the Arsenalification of our football club in the sense that we signed all these ball-to-feet merchants that have nice technique and skill and good first touch. But when you see us play, we're quite one-dimensional in terms of how we're looking to break teams down, right? In terms of how we're looking to create attacking opportunities. Everything is ball-to-feet. Things can be quite slow. We're not really funneling the opposition consistently enough, left to right, left to right, left to right. And we also lack the combinations, the patterns, and the ideas at times to break these types of teams down. And it makes you think to yourself, if Poch was listened to, if we signed a bit of experience just to blend with the rest of the squads, some taller players, a bit of more physical players who want to be involved in that part of the game, would that improve our capacities? I definitely think so. And I think this is why, and people can cry and moan what they want, this is why Gallagher has been important to this team, because he is the only one who brings those, I keep saying capacities all the time because Poch was saying it left, right and centre today, but I think it's a good word. I think it sums up a lot of things, right? But Connor's the only one that really brings those capacities, and people will be like, oh, Nini, why is he being wasted as a 10? I don't even feel like he's not playing as like a proper natural 10, because the heat maps show this guy covers every blade of grass in both boxes, right? But this team needs his fight, his energy. And because we have to kickstart our press as well, we need Conor Gallagher a bit further forwards to maintain our structures and to give us those, like, you know, ball winning opportunities in the final thirds. And we know that Pochettino's football is about the energy. It is about running. It is about being powerful. Are most of these players catered towards that type of football? I'm not too sure, because a lot of times that comes from your midfield, where it feels like our midfield is a bit lightweight. I'm not gonna lie. It's an interesting one. It's a strange one. I can see where Pochettino's ideas, they are going to be bottlenecks by the current ability of this team. If there was some experience dotted alongside some of the quality we have, I think that would have been better overall for everyone, but it hasn't been the case. Of course, the injuries haven't helped things whatsoever. I feel like the football we saw at the start of the season, the game versus Liverpool, and I think, you know, there was one game this season, I hope you guys can remember this, but I think that first half against West Ham, yeah, I know we conceded that header to Ogard, but in terms of how quickly we played, how we were moving West Ham left to right, the passing football, the energy, the quality, you know, Carnes, of course, equalising before the first half whistle came, that was a long time in the making, because they were suffocated West Ham. They could do nothing. It's a shame that maybe Poch just felt like he hasn't been able to maintain working upon that style of football we've shown at the start of the season. But, you know, in the meantime, man, the players got to look at themselves. They got to look at themselves. They have to suffer. I don't feel like we see enough of these guys wanting to suffer. They're not looking to close down the extra yards. They're not looking to make the foul when they have to. They're too busy caught ball watching. They're out of position. You see them tracking back slowly. You're looking at the structures of the team. The wide guys are not working hard enough. They're not tracking back. They're not looking to want to win that ball. You know, they just come back in position because they're told to, but there's no real ideas or incentive or energy to be competitors on the field, to want to win that ball back, to quickly get it back, to be aggressive, to kickstart and be hungry to make another attack. We've seen that inconsistently throughout this season. When we play that way, we tend to look good, we tend to play well. Games like Man City being a prime example, but recently it is something that is far removed from the mentality of this team. Is frustrating, is not good enough, and these guys need to look at themselves right now, because they will be feeling embarrassed by themselves because they didn't leave here today with 3 points against Burnley. Listen, I'm not taking nothing away from Burnley, but you know, this is why you must raise your game, because in the Premier League, even if you're 10 men down to the 19th place team in this league, if you're not on point, if you're not mentally ready to fight and battle, you will get punished. You won't get the result. You fight for everything you need in this country, and I feel like the players today let themselves down even more. Yes, I've still got frustrations around Pochettino, but I think now that I've had even more clarity with my thoughts with the game, I feel like the players will look at themselves, yeah, because if you're going to be playing for our football club, playing in this country as well, you know, you need to be there ready for the fight. It sounds a bit Yerderish, but this is life in the Premier League, and that has to be accepted too. So my friends, that's all the post-match news after the game today. Share your thoughts and opinions, and don't forget to watch a match review too. I'm Nini FC, this is BlueLionsTV. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow with some more videos. Cool.